has come a long way in its development. It's really finding its own identity now. Although I would say that it's becoming solid European, it's also become quite gentrified where I just went to a beer place here. I think it was American owned, and they had just fridges full of canned beer from the US, and I think they were US owners. And I said, do you have any draft beers? And they said no, but we have like however many IPAs and whatever taste of beer, from milkshake to cranberries taste, from the US and Canada imported. I was like, okay, well, thank you very much, but not for me, honestly. So I pretty much just left and I thought, okay, these cans will cost like 10-12 euros a pop. How about I just have like a 2 free tops euro local Estonian beer somewhere? And why can't I find that anymore? Why is it all gone? Our own stuff, our own identity of everything, and the accessibility for the normal people as well. So there in the back you see what was probably still from the Soviet times, some sort of concrete brutalist structure where you can just sit and hang out. No way saying that was better back then. It was we're free now in Europe, right? But now it's these developments and everything is just the same boxes all over Europe, the same unaffordable boxes that are standing empty. None of them are occupied. You have your same Bolt scooters, your same food delivery drivers, whereas the quality of life obviously went up. Where can I have my local draft beer and sit down and chill for a reasonable price where it still stays fun? Now I eventually always do find these places, but you're pushed farther and farther away from like harbor areas, and I can imagine for local people that's also not fun. Just like I went to a restaurant today, was definitely not in the old town, but I went to sit down and the main courses were like 17 euros, and I said no, it's a bit too much for me, I'm very sorry, I'll just look a bit further. And eventually I found something like half the price. And people are always a bit surprised when I get up and say, no, sorry, it's a bit too much, to be fair. But I think that's a fair reality check. The restaurant was empty, and then often it stays empty. I mean, it's how it works. Things have a reasonable price, even if you can afford them easily. Doesn't always mean you should. I'm becoming more and more critical of it, and that's especially since my trip to Japan, where the food was far superior to anything in Europe, no matter where, plus the service as well. You'll get your glass of water, you get your face towel, everything is just sublime. I'm like, if I need to pay big buck for mediocre stuff, I won't be demanding in a restaurant, but I'll just assess as well as I can before I sit down if it will be worth my while, and becoming a little bit more selective with it. And still 9 times out of 10 I do have a good experience where at the places I do choose, but we should become a bit more critical in Europe of pricing, of where things are sourced, whether they're like European made, for example, local initiatives. That's what I want to support. So, something to think of, at least for me. This is the Noblessner area of Tallinn. I'm a little bit saddened by it, because this could be, I'm not saying it looks bad, but I couldn't tell from just a snapshot if I'm in Helsinki, Copenhagen, or even Gdańsk. It all looks the same. Why no Estonian influences in the build, like nothing heritage, no patterns, nothing local. It's the same boxes, the same coffee places with the overpriced flat whites, the same pizza places. You know what I'm kind of glad of is that I'm not saying it's bad or something. I mean, I'm glad with development in any case, but it's become I don't know, sloppy. It's the same copy paste. I'm glad I got to see Europe when we traveled when I was young, when we would go around Europe and things would be so different. The moment you'd cross into Germany or Belgium, the money was different, the cars, the people, the fries tasted different, the mayonnaise was different, the radio, there was different songs. Went to the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and each border you crossed you felt like, oh wow, this is actually interesting. It was Turkey in 2003 where we visited. It was a different world back then. But by now you also have these places, whether it's in Kusadasi or Istanbul, the same blocks. And why is it also uninspiring? It's like it's done on purpose. I think it's kind of sad, but I'm glad that I get to see the pinnacle of European travel. Was probably like up to 2009, 8. Up to that point it was, you actually had stuff to see when you went to Hungary, where it all felt like you were in a new place. And supposedly these people everywhere in these places now have a better standard. Although I doubt that's necessarily true, because nobody can afford these boxes here, these apartments. Right? And I doubt anyone would want to go back in time, neither do I. Because one thing is true, travel is a lot more affordable still. I did fly here for $20. We did have a 4-hour flight delay, but I'm still here. And I can pay with the same currency with my card, and it doesn't cost anything extra. I can roam with the internet with my phone. But have we traded identity for convenience and conformity? Perhaps a little, and perhaps in the end that's an acceptable trade-off. Acceptable for me because I got to see it when it was all different. And now I can sort of flow with the rest I'm gonna see. And still it's always sort of pleasant wherever I go. So that's what matters, right? On the other hand, I just something in these blocks, despite that I would love to own one of them, right, if I could. Something in these blocks just spoke to me like we're in a different Tallinn than in 2011, when we just chatted up like a group of folks who were invited to a party, some local stuff, and it's just very, very changed. But that's okay. So I will catch you folks later.